Admittedly, this shouldn't be your first choice when picking a car to drive every single day during the middle of winter. But with that being said, I'm a strong believer in driving your car all year round in any conditions. So, what's it like daily driving a 22-year-old Honda S2000 in the coldest, wettest and ultimately iciest months here in the UK? Well, you might be surprised with what I've got to say. So, might as well get straight into it. Now, most people that I know that own S2000s only take them out on nice, warm, dry days because that's when these cars do perform at the best, in those conditions with a set of sticky tyres on being revved up to 9,000 RPM with the roof down. But those are the guys and girls that are in the privileged position of being able to afford to run another car alongside the S2000 to get them through the winter. What if you can't afford to do that? Should you bin off the idea of picking up an S2000 altogether? Short answer, no. Since the car that I bought came with a set of all-season tyres, kind of, rather than semi-slicks, and because the pickup is more of a weekend car to me than this, I decided, you know what, this is going to be my daily driver, and well, I'm still here to tell the tale, so it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I think the first assumption that everyone makes is that a rear-wheel drive convertible car just isn't going to be good here in the UK for, well, 6 months of the year, because our winters are stupidly long. And as someone who's actually been driving this thing in the rubbish conditions that we get here in the north of England, it's totally livable with. I've had faster, more expensive and more modern rear-wheel drive cars which have been far worse than this driving in the rain, let alone the snow. As long as you put a decent set of tyres on, that eliminates 90% of the danger. Stops you from aquaplaning in the rain and it gives you that little bit of traction you need to set off in the snow, and once you're going, you can probably get just as far as that Chelsea tractor with the same rubber underneath it. You don't need to worry about freezing to death either. I mean, I have to admit, the luxury you get even in a Fiesta ST is far better than this with its heated windscreen and arse-burning seats. But the assumption that convertibles will be freezing to drive during the winter is just not true. If anything, the heating in this car is better than most coupes that I've driven, purely because it has to warm you up even when the roof's down. Now, there are downsides to driving a small sports car at this time of year. I can't pretend that it's the most pleasant thing to drive, even if it is entirely possible. You're super low to the floor, meaning that your visibility when it does start to rain, especially when you're following someone, is far worse than what it would be if you were sat in the likes of an SUV a little bit higher up. And the situation is only amplified when it gets dark. Your eyes are essentially at headlight level for most other cars on the road, so get used to driving blind if you're travelling late on a night. With its lack of assists, the S2000 can also get a little bit twitchy even at low speeds in the wet, and if you've got a heavy foot going around bends, you need to have lightning fast reactions too, because they let go with hardly any warning. With that being said though, that's just a trait that most rear-wheel drive cars have in the same conditions. They're just heightened slightly because there's no aids to save you when you get it wrong in one of these. Ultimately then, what's it like to drive an S2000 over the winter? Well, it hasn't let me down. I've driven mine every day in the snow, ice and heavy rain, and although you can't extract its full potential in those conditions, you can't do that in any other car either. So it makes no difference as to what I'm sat in. Yep, there are things out there which are more suited to driving in all weathers, but if you're wanting to drive an S2000 and you can't afford to run anything else during the cold spells, then just go for it. In my experience, it is totally fine. Let me know down below if you do the same thing and daily your toy all year round, and if you don't, then what's your winter beater? Hope you enjoyed the video, leave it a like if you did and subscribe to the channel for more content coming soon. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!